Hi everybody, it's Jude here from This Business of Therapy again, and we live in interesting times, and we don't really know what these times are going to bring to us. I'm very aware, as I'm sure you are, that there's a lot of fear around. We can call it anxiety or nervousness if we want to. I call it fear because that's how I experience it. But when we feel fear, and I'm talking in this context in our therapy practices, when we feel fear as self-employed business owners, how do we react to that? We all have our favourite ways of dealing with fear, and some of those ways are more helpful than others. So some of the defensive ways that we might be dealing with fear might be we might be rushing around being busy but not actually achieving very much, or we might be withdrawing not just our physical distance from other people, but we might be withdrawing socially or withdrawing into ourselves. We might be more irritable or easily frustrated or angered than usual, or reacting to what's happening with blame either of ourselves or of other people. So you get the idea. There are lots and lots of ways that we can defend ourselves against fear. And I'll do a little tapping now in a few minutes about the fear. But I'd like you to think about the question of what this situation might be calling you to. As self-employed therapists, we are leaders of a kind, maybe not the political leaders that we normally associate that word with, but we are leaders of healing and change and transformation. And my question to you to take away from this short video today is, what is this situation calling you to? If it were asking you as a leader to step up in some way, in what way is this situation asking you to step up? So I'm going to do a short tapping about the fear that we may be feeling, and around our practices specifically, the fear that we may be feeling and how that might be showing up for us. So I'm going to start as usual with a nice deep breath in through your nose and hold it for a moment. And another nice deep breath in through your nose and hold it for a moment. And let it out. I'm just going to ask you to check in with yourself. Are you feeling any fear at the moment? Fear about your practice, fear about what this situation might bring to your practice. Perhaps you've had to engage more with online work or telephone work. Perhaps you have been speaking with clients who have been more than usually distressed, or perhaps clients who are normally well able to manage their external lives are finding that more difficult when they're put out of their comfort zone. So you may be experiencing challenges on the client work side, on your income side, or on the bigger questions of where's my practice going to be in, a month or 2 months or 6 months, and all of those questions may be in there for you. So just focus on where my questions might might have landed with you, and then we'll do a short tapping round on the fear. So we're going to start on the side of the hand as usual. And as always, don't forget to wash your hands before and after tapping. And if you haven't seen me or encountered me tapping before, then just do what I do and tap along with me and you'll get the hang of it. So we're starting on the side of the hand and we're going to say, even though this situation is stirring up all these fears in me, fears about my practice, and that fear is coming out in all sorts of funny ways. I'm just going to acknowledge that that's where I am and how I feel. Even though I have this fear in my body, and it's been showing up in some strange ways. I'm finding it hard to do my day's work. I'm running around being busy. I don't feel like engaging with people. And I really don't like working online. And I know I'm afraid because I feel it in my body. And I can fly off the handle more easily than usual. I'm taking things more personally. But I'm just going to acknowledge that that's where I am right now. And then we go to the top of the head. I'm feeling afraid. I have a lot of fear about what's happening. And some of that fear is about my practice. I like to meet with clients face to face. I really don't like this online and telephone stuff. It's not how I like to work. And many of my clients don't like it either. So I'm feeling afraid for my practice. Afraid of what's going to happen if this goes on for too long. Will I have a practice at the end of it? Will my clients want to come back to me? Or will they realise maybe they don't need me? That's a very scary thought. And it's not one that I want to think about. All these fears about my practice. I don't want to think about them. So I'm distracting myself in other ways. I'm withdrawing from contact with people. I'm busying myself with things that I don't really need to do. I'm watching loads of TV. I'm overdosing on news. And sometimes I lash out at people. I fly off the handle. Or I disappear into some place in my head. All this fear about my practice. And it feels like there's very little I can do about it. It feels like there's nothing I can do to change this situation. It's completely out of my control. And that's a scary thought too. But I don't want to be with these fears. They feel horrible. So I don't want to acknowledge them. And I'm just going to honour that in myself. So take another nice deep breath in through your nose and hold it again. And another nice deep breath in through your nose. And let it go. And I hope that that tapping helped to allow you just to touch in a very small way into what you might be feeling below the surface. And as we know, when we do allow those feelings a little bit of space, allow them some space to come up and be released, then it helps us to find a more peaceful place in ourselves. And I'd just like to remind you about that question that I offered you earlier on. What is this calling you to? In what way are you being asked to step up or to adapt or to change or to take some sort of leadership role? This is Jude Fay for thisbusinessoftherapy.com. Thank you for watching.